This program brought to you by the new Falcon 1 tonner. It's unbelievable.
Tonight, the best record in the pool smashed by a teenager with a big grin, bigger future.
How much faster do you think you can get?
Who knows?
Plus the other race for footy's final eights and an extreme day out at the Winter Games. Hello, I'm Matthew White. Welcome to Perisher Blue for Sports Tonight and the Mobile Net Extreme Games. And talk about extremes, check this out. Front Valley, Perisher this afternoon. Clear skies and pure carnage. Now, the same valley tonight. Clear skies and a bit of a clean-up, but pure peace. And no matter which way you look at it, it is an incredible place. And it's all action at an incredible pace. After this weekend, the slopes will never be the same. There's no safe runs, no smooth turns, nothing like big air. The snowy mountains, a pretty enough spot to tear apart. This is Sports Tonight at Perisher Blue, the launch pad for the Winter Extreme Games. And we'll have all the Extreme Games action shortly, but first tonight, the biggest swim of a young man's life. Ian Thorpe seems to carry expectations like he does gold medals with ease. The 17-year-old has probably lost count the amount of times that people have asked him, can you beat Kieran Perkins' 400 metres world record? Well, tonight he answered yes and gave Sydney's new Olympic pool its first incredible moment.
The eyes told the story, and the tactics would leave little doubt. Ian Thorpe was swimming for a world record. There was no sitting in behind and kicking home tonight. The 16-year-old going straight to the front and dictating the pace.
This is a really surprising tactic from Ian Thorpe.
And when those big feet stepped up a gear, it was a matter of by how much he'd beat Kieran Perkins' old mark.
Thorpe comes in, Thorpe touches, world record, 3:41.83. He's taken almost 2 seconds off it.
And to be able to do that in front of my home crowd tonight, it was an amazing feeling as well.
A $25,000 bonus, another reason to punch the air. But there was little time to celebrate. The teenager straight back in the pool to anchor Australia to a history-making win in the 4x100 freestyle relay. It's the first time the US has lost the event at the Pan Pacs. Michael Klim setting up the victory with a Commonwealth record in the opening leg. The Americans with some revenge, tipping the Aussies in the women's event.
And just to cap off an amazing night at that pool, Ian Thorpe has just announced that he'll donate that $25,000 world record bonus to charity. Quite incredible. Rugby league now, and the finals equation got even more interesting today with a couple of upsets and yet another thriller. Sydney City and St George Illawarra.
St George Illawarra started the match facing the very real prospect of missing the final 8, and the Dragons' sense of urgency didn't take long to surface. Wayne Bartram's hands-free pass the clincher. He'd make an encore later in the game, but Sydney City made a prompt reply to the opening try. The Roosters playing for a top 4 spot and giving the crowd a taste of semis-style football to take a 14-8 half-time lead.
The Roosters 20 metres out, Bunning takes on Patton, now 5 metres out, dumps the pass back, Fletcher gets there.
St George Illawarra in big trouble when Rooster Andrew Walker crashed the corner. Time for Bartram to step back into the picture.
And pushes away from Ringel, Bartram in red ball, Wayne Bartram has scored for the Dragons.
And just 4 minutes later, a repeat performance. The Roosters found wanting close to the line. Trent Barrett proving just as hard to handle.
Here come the Dragons with Barrett. He rolls over for the try.
The Dragons had trailed 18 points to 8. Now they led 24-18. Sydney City threatened late in the game, but Brad Fittler's converted try still left them 2 points adrift.
26-24, Wayne Bartram there with 18 points for the Dragons, but it's a potentially costly loss for Sydney City. Andrew Walker has an ankle injury and may not play again this year, while Brian Fletcher has a badly torn quadricep. To complete round 25, North's geared up for a storm, West and the Cowboys geared up for the wooden spoon, and the Panthers geared up for a fitting farewell to one of their greats.
A big crowd came to see Penrith hero Greg Alexander play his last home game. His teammates, hungry to give Brandy the send-off he deserved, piled on the pressure, and it turned into points as the Panthers skipped away to a 10-0 lead.
Gower's going to finish it off.
Knowing a playoff spot could well hinge on the result, Canberra came back strongly, Croker bagging 2 tries to put the Raiders in the hunt. The scores locked at 14-all at half-time, but after the break, it was all one-way traffic, and it wasn't going Canberra's way. Penrith with 3 second-half tries to put a big dent in the Raiders' playoff hopes.
They're on their feet again here at Penrith.
Also plenty of smiles at North Sydney tonight after the Bears continued a weekend of upsets to beat Melbourne.
Right on the chalk. He comes up with a...
They were also saying a goodbye of sorts as they head to their new ground. And what a way to say thanks for the memories.
He got an innocent try.
West, though, with very little to be thankful for, as North Queensland slammed the cellar door shut on the Magpies in the battles for the wooden spoon.
Go to the ladder, and with 1 round to go, the Sharks are set for the minor premiership. St George Illawarra now safely in the 8, while they're breathing a lot easier in Brisbane after Canberra's loss today. The Raiders now 1 point adrift of the 8. The only way they can make the finals is by beating Balmain next weekend and hoping the Broncos lose to Canterbury. Now to AFL, and the team that held the key to the home final situation unlocked the mystery this afternoon. The Western Bulldogs had a beauty against the West Coast Eagles, putting everything in its place for the finals.
A top 4 spot up for grabs and both sides came out firing. The Bulldogs gained the early momentum, a goal on the siren giving the home side an 8-point lead at quarter time.
He's got it! What a goal!
Chris Grant took control in the second term.
Oh, you hero! Magnificent!
The Bulldogs' accuracy spot on, kicking 10 goals from 10 scoring shots. Phil Matera helped keep the Eagles in touch, with Fraser Gehrig cutting the margin to 16 by half-time.
Gehrig follows up, gone.
The Bulldogs grabbed the opening 2 of the third term.
Great snap.
But the Eagles hit back, West Coast trailing by just 4 points at the final break.
Here's a go, Gehrig.
The fourth quarter was a thriller. Scott Cummings' 5th put West Coast in front, but the Bulldogs replied through Luke Darcy.
Magnificent.
A 6th to Cummings had the Eagles just a point behind, but West Coast were unable to kick another major, the Dogs securing a home final with a 2-point win.
And the final score, 16 goals 10 to 16 goals 8. Simon Garlick with 4 for the Doggies, Scott Cummings 6 for the Eagles. He's now kicked 87 for the season. The other round 21 matches might have had little bearing on the finals picture, but there was still plenty of motivation. The Kangaroos against a fired-up Collingwood, and showdown 6 between the Crows and Port.
The pride of South Australia was on the line at Football Park today, and it was Adelaide through Jarman who got the Crows off to a brilliant start.
For the year.
With their first AFL Finals series in sight, Port Adelaide stepped up the tempo with some flair of their own. The Power led by 28 points at half-time and looked set to run away with the match. Jarman inspired the Crows again as they came back hard at Port, but the Power withstood the onslaught to run out 24-point winners. And at the MCG today, the Kangaroos got the fright of their lives against bottom side Collingwood. The Pies drew level late in the last quarter, but the Roos rallied to run out 13-point winners.
So the top 4 and the top 8 have all been decided. The Western Bulldogs securing a home final after they beat the Eagles, Port Adelaide and Sydney rounding out the 8. Disappointment for Hawthorn, Geelong, St Kilda, the Tigers and of course defending premiers, the Adelaide Crows, all bowing out of season 99. Well, after a 2-month layoff, Australia's World Cup winning cricketers are back in action, playing Sri Lanka in the first match of a triangular tournament. the extraordinary dismissal of Adam Gilchrist overshadowing the result.
A risky single, but no doubt Adam Gilchrist was home.
Yes, he's dropped the ball for a start. Have a look at the ball. It goes out of his gloves. That's bad wicketkeeping. It's down on the ground, out of his gloves. He then hits the stumps. Then the ball hits the stumps. But in any event, the bat's got over the line.
A seemingly simple decision.
He'll be pushing that green light in a second.
But after 2 minutes...
There must be a problem with the light.
He's given it. I think he's made a mistake there.
I think he's pushed the wrong button.
Pushed the wrong button.
Third umpire Mian Patasana beginning Australia's tour with controversy and disbelief.
Perhaps they got the thing wired up wrong or something.
In all, a disappointing innings. Australia struggled against spin, with Sanath Jayasuriya taking 5 wickets. Michael Bevan unbeaten on 44, top score. Needing 212, the Sri Lankans lost early wickets. Jason Gillespie with 3 quick ones.
He's cleaned him up here.
From 4 for 41, the former world champions never recovered.
That's a loud neck. You could
Shane
hear it.
Warne cleaned up the tail with Darren Lehman leaving his mark.
Bevan is with him. Lehman dives and have yourself a complimentary beverage.
The Aussies play India tomorrow.
Australia home there by 51 runs in a match affected by rain, meaning officials used that relatively new Duckworth-Lewis system to work out the total that Sri Lanka needed to win. Now that was 212, but obviously they were well short. Now, onto the snow here at Perisher Blue, and a lot of people come to the mountains for fresh air. But today, it was big air, and lots of it.
A board, a rush of blood, and a mountain. Sometimes a crazy combination. The recipe, the wrong mix for Victorian skier Aaron Place. Knocked unconscious, stretchered off, and taken to Canberra Hospital. Everyone knows the risks, and that's why the winning trick today was so incredible. Finland skier Tuukka Tuvaho went in blind and landed backwards. In technical terms, a fakie-to-fakie double backflip.
There was a lot of good skiers, so you got to do something what no one has done before.
It wasn't only the men going wild. American Tara Dikides making many hang their heads in shame with a perfect score in the final. Swiss boarder Jonas Emery followed up his win in the halfpipe with the biggest air for another gold medal, while local Shay Paxton now has the national title.
Unreal. I'm so stoked. I was so surprised. I didn't expect to do as well as I have this year.
Now this is the next big thing. 10 years ago it was snowboards, now it's ski boards. And it's a sport not just new to the crowd. A couple of days practice and they're doing this. Oh, yeah! The winning ride, a 900 Misty. In layman's terms, a 2.5 spin jump.
It was a little bit sketchy. Didn't have a hand down though. It's not as clean as I'd like to pull it, but it was cool. It was a 900 Misty. Yeah.
After the break, Kostyazu's big win in Florida and the V8s. This is Sports Tonight at the Snow. Stick around.
1, 2, 3, 4. Get up, get on up, get up, get on up. Stay on the scene, get on up like a sex machine. Get on up, get up, get on up, get up, get on up. Stay on the scene.
Looking for action. Robbie Knievel's jumping 17 semis.
You can't relax when you know you're going down at 85 miles an hour.
170-foot wall of steel and glass. You've got to be in it to win it. Guinness World Records prime time Monday.
Where's the water?
New V8 Falcon Ute. It's unbelievable.
If you're looking for a fantastic alternative to takeaway, think noodles.
Mom, we're hungry.
You can make a healthy, economical meal in less time than this commercial break. And remember, these noodles taste fantastic because they are.
fantastic noodles, Australian company with authentic Asian recipe.
I love this house. It reminds me of what Wales was like. It's got a country feel about it. If I hear Welsh choirs, it's, yeah, it takes me home. I separated and moved out of the home, and the house went on the market because I didn't think that I could buy a house, certainly not on a single income.
We had a look at her income. We could definitely give her the loan, which meant that her and her kids could move back into the home.
I'm relaxed about the loan, relaxed about where I'm going, and life's looking pretty good.
Looking for a home loan that can go through the same changes as you? Make it happen with a bank.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
They created a gateway to a parallel universe. But when you open the door, these people are real. Beware of what you let in. The 13th floor.
What'd you do to the world?
Turned it off.
Remember, you can make a meal of fantastic noodles in less time than this commercial break.
Fantastic noodles, Australian company with authentic Asian recipe.
A reporter barely alive.
You ever get any calls, any threatening letters?
His story jailed a mobster.
They convicted because of what Fox printed in his column?
Unfortunately, it was a lie.
Now that's a story.
Law and Order, 8:30 Monday on 10.
Welcome back to the MobileNet Winter Extreme Games. Pushing the limits is an obvious theme around here, and it was obvious at the V8s today that Jason Bargwanna was extremely in the zone. A clean sweep in round 10 of the Shell Championship Series.
The weather was perfect for racing, but drivers still slid off the track. Dirt which had built up created slippery conditions early in the first race, 10 drivers leaving the track in procession.
It looked like, oh, there's cars going. There must be something on the road there. There has to be something on the ground, dirt or something.
Cameron McLean tried to mix it with the veteran Larry Perkins, but came off second best, while privateer Steve Reed also pushed a little too hard, paving the way for newcomer Nathan Pretty to work his way up. Craig Lowndes let his rivals know he was back, but he and his teammate Mark Scaife struggled for speed on the Winton track. Lowndes' best result was 5th in race 3. Holden's Jason Bargwanna dominated racing, while Stephen Richards carved up the Holden racing team late in the day, first passing Lowndes, then tapping Mark Scaife, causing him to spin. Bargwanna stayed out in front for his first round win ahead of Bright and Russell Ingall.
A crushing world title defence for Kostya Tszyu. In a bout billed by promoters as the fight of the year, the Australian demolished Mexico's Miguel Angel Gonzalez in 10 rounds.
Not even the Miami Heat could stir his stone-cold stare as Kostya Tszyu prepared to unleash 10 months of frustration. An accidental head clash opened up Gonzalez in the first round, but it was Kostya's stunning combinations that had the Mexican in trouble.
By Frank Santori. Oh, combination!
Gonzalez retaliated with a head-on assault.
What's to go now? A minute to go. There he goes again.
And after 4 more attempts, he finally had a point deducted. But he simply had no defence to Kostya's relentless attack.
Big, huge round. Again, all over Gonzalez. And if the ropes weren't there, Gonzalez would be in the first row.
The referee finally forced to stop the fight.
Stop.
Kostya handed the WBC super lightweight crown as new friends joined in to celebrate.
When the world's hottest snowboarders take on Mount Perisher in the Kamikaze Downhill at these MobileNet Winter Games on Wednesday, Australian Darren Powell will be the one to beat. Why? Simple. Up here, he's faster than fast.
Darren Powell climbs higher and higher so he can tear downhill faster and faster, because Darren Powell is a self-confessed speed freak.
Getting up in the morning and going riding beats going to the office. It's pretty simple.
In France last winter, he became the quickest man on a snowboard and the first to smash 200 kilometres per hour.
How fast was it? 201, guys. 201? Insane.
Thanks.
How fast can you go?
I think there's a good 20 or 30 Ks in it yet. Probably more, but even with our technology now, I think we've got 20 or 30 to go.
Incredibly, this laid-back Sydney sider hasn't seen a summer in a decade. Forever chasing the boarding buzz, his life isn't a beach, it's a cool, endless winter.
It's like surfing. It's just a wonderful feeling, but you don't have to wait for the waves. You can do it all day long. So it's just a terrific sport that I think I'll do for the rest of my life.
Although money matters, he rarely shreds for bread.
There's some money in it now for the right people, for the guys doing somersaults and that sort of thing. There's some money in it if you're good.
A new age nomad, speed is his best friend, and he just wants to keep going higher and higher, faster and faster.
Darren Powell, one man who pretty much sums up the attitude on the slopes this week. Fast and furious. More of sports tonight in a minute. Make sure you stick around.
The big stuff, tell me, who do you think you are? Mr. Big Stuff, you're never gonna get my love. Mr. Big Stuff, you're never gonna break my heart.
I have now some good news for you.
The good news is we've moved to an all-new time.
I have never been happier.
9:30 Monday, the heavyweights of humour line up for an all-star debate.
It must be sex. I think not.
Robbins, McDermott,
I'm fat, you know, Bobo.
Kitson, Keller and Morgan.
What had been troubling me was, of course, mental.
At the all-new time of 9:30 Monday.
It's fun being in the middle.
Good News Week, a war of the words on 10.
The only thing that's important to me is that my shave gel leaves my face looking smooth and feeling great. And my deodorant smells fresh, clean and masculine. They have to be 100% effective. I mean, they've really got to work their pants off.
Da Vinci Sport 2000. Men's toiletries that really work their pants off. Da Vinci, perfect for Father's Day at these leading stores.
Clinical tests prove new Climasol's advanced anti-dandruff formula can relieve and control dandruff. New Climasol Advanced Anti-Dandruff Shampoo.
Now I can wear black again.
Bridgestone invited Mr. and Mrs. Brock to help test their new tyres with Donuts technology. To make things fair, they decided that only Mrs. Brock's car would be fitted with new Donuts, and Mr. Brock would have to rely on his skill. As you can see, when it comes to stopping, skill has nothing to do with it. Donuts, unique to Bridgestone.
There's no stopping you, my love.
How much do I owe you? How much for the egg?
I'm sorry, we can't sell you one egg. You can have a half a dozen for $1.80.
I don't want 6.
You just can't have one egg.
Why not?
Vodafone now lets you pay for what you use by the second, instead of in 30-second blocks.
Hope you're a little more open-minded about the bread. Network Vodafone. Oh, yeah.
Regurgitator. Now this is art. Regurgitator's new album is Art. In store Monday.
Morning, Bob.
You know, regular intestinal worming of your dog is important, but it doesn't have to be an ordeal. In fact, with Exelpet All Wormers, everyone's an expert. You see, they're made with meat to taste good, so dogs love them. It really is that easy.
If only everything was that easy.
The best they can get is you, an Exelpet.
Just where you're blowing, getting to where you should be going.
Welcome back to Perisher Blue for Sports Tonight. Now moving on, Adelaide pole vaulter Tatiana Grigorieva has claimed Australia's first medal at the World Athletic Championships in Spain. World record holder Emma George was eliminated after 3 failed attempts at 4:35, but the South Australian soared, clearing the bar at 4:45 to take bronze behind American Stacey Dragilla. And our hopes are still alive in the women's 100 metres with Nova Peris-Kneebone and Lauren Hewitt qualifying for the semi-finals. Sydney's Matt Shervington also made it through. His time, 10.16. That gets him a place in the semis. Round 11 of the World Motorcycle Championship, and a warning, we're about to show some highlights from the Czech Grand Prix, which is coming up right after Sports Tonight. And a frightening crash in the early stages of the 500cc race. British rider Jamie Whittam's bike burst into flames on impact, and the fire quickly enveloped the nearby tyre wall. Quite scary. Spaniard Jose Luis Cardoso was also lucky to avoid the flames. Whittam was stretchered away with a suspected broken pelvis. Now, back to the business of big air, and it's a natural part of the lingo at these Mobile Net Winter Extreme Games. And it's something that comes naturally to a man who spends most of his life not on the slopes, but above them. A man called Gravy. Well, if there's one man who can tell us about big air, it's you, Gravy. It's a pretty basic principle, isn't it? It's high and as hard as you can.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Basically, they push up a whole lot of snow up here and get a whole bunch of crazies to go off it and, you know, see what they can do in the air. All right, tell us what you do up there. Tell us your favourite move. How the hell do you do it? I don't know. I've got a few sort of favourite moves. Like, it all depends on what sort of shape and size the jump is and that. Like off this one, like what I've been doing today is it's like a backflip mute grab. So it's basically going off the jump and sucking it up and grabbing the front side of one of your skis and then just like totally boning it out. That's what we call it, boning it out. And yeah, and just like, and then come down and land, yeah.
It's all over in a flash, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any injuries, any bad ones?
Yeah, I had one last year, but that was more from jumping on a trampoline all drunk and stuff. Kind of bounced off it and onto my back on the ground. So from skiing, not so much, touch wood, but yeah.
Yeah, and quickly just tell us about your life. You basically spend the entire year going from slopes like these to slopes over in France and Austria.
Yeah, been living in Europe for the last few years because there's been like more support for skiing over there. But it looks like it's getting better over here in Australia, like with I know like Lifesavers and stuff, and Rip Curl really pushing the Heli Challenge in New Zealand, and a lot more people are getting marks. We've got so many good athletes over here that get no recognition really, and not really enough budget to go and make their mark on the world scene. So it's really good for these guys to get the opportunity to strut their stuff in front of like major corporations and on TV and all that sort of stuff. So
how many people come up and say, "You're mad, mate, you're a lunatic"?
Oh, you know, I'm sort of hanging around with a lot of lunatics, so most of the time, but you know, a few, yeah, definitely.
Good on you, mate. Enjoy the games.
Right on, no worries. Thanks, buddy.
Gravy. Don't ask. I don't think we want to know. Stick around. We'll be back at Perisher in a minute.
Tuesday.
Do you want to see something incredible?
A stranger appears with a gift like theirs, but will she become a powerful ally or a danger to them all?
You must make them want you as badly as you want them.
Charmed, 9:30 Tuesday on 10.
This is Colin Wheeler. He's trained hard in the off-season and is ready to do your tax. Call 132325. H&R Block. The best people in tax. That's our claim.
You don't have to make up your mind yet, baby, that's fine. I'm just around the corner, I got nothing but time.
Need a real guitar or the musical instrument of your dreams? Get down to Allen's Music for our 149th birthday sale. Top brand instruments and sheet music at unbeatable prices.
the Fresh Maker. When we make a commitment, we keep it. Every delivery, every time, time after time. Only one company delivers it all. TNT, Global Express, Logistics and Mail.
Truly grand homes of elegant design, stunningly beautiful interiors, built with attention to detail, and priced with everything included. The double-story collection by Henley Properties. A very pleasant surprise. 295 square meters for $108,900 to 381 square meters for $132,900. Luxuries included at a Henley Properties Super Display Village near you. Henley Properties Group. Build on something solid.
The prom queen, flipping burgers in her old man's diner. That's really got to sting at your age.
He makes a good point.
Reggie meets her nemesis.
I'd rather set myself on fire. You missed your chance, loser.
Oh, you better. 8:30 Wednesday on 10.
And welcome back. Time now for our G-Shock Play of the Day, and this one goes to the craziest stunt on the mountain so far. Tuuka Turba-Aho put his back to the ramp and started all with a double backflip, landing with his back to the crowd. Now, for the connoisseurs, it's fakey to fakey double backflip, but for the rest of us, it's just the G-Shock Play of the Day for Tuuka Turba-Aho. Had to say it again. That is Sports Tonight at the Snow. We're heading back to base now, but we'll continue to bring you reports on the MobileNet Extreme Games right throughout the week. To Perisher Blue Resort, the people and the place, thanks for your fantastic help. To the sponsors, the organisers, the staff, and of course the competitors, thanks for being extreme. I'm Matthew White. I'll see you next time. Good night.
You